Aux deux équipes, et bon match, best of.
The final day of the round robin, and this afternoon's matchup features the surprising Saskatchewan 222s against a team headed to the upcoming Women's World Cup. The Aussie Spirit, the Australian national team, a warm day on this Thursday, barely a cloud in the sky. The Saskatchewan 222s have been a surprise. They knocked off Team Greece 8-2. Now they have to deal with Australia. And it will not be easy. But this Saskatchewan 22s team, with the large majority of their players who have come through the Twos softball program out of Saskatoon, run by head coach of this team and one of the co-owners, Dean Holine, former longtime national team member, really came in to the story of this event when they downed Chinese Taipei a couple of days ago by a count of 8-5. And they will take the field, and there is the talented Australian team under the guidance of Lang Harrow. And Australia's in an interesting spot. Their record is 3-1. They lost a key showdown to 4-0 Triple Crown Colorado a couple of days ago. And the Saskatchewan 222s with a record of 2-2. Millions, McKenna Simmons, Abby McGlynn. Keep an eye in this game on the shortstop, Paige Simpson. She has made some superb plays at shortstop. Michael Young from the United States, Susan Strafford, Miguel Garcia, and Casey Coleman will work the game. And Australia is the visiting team and lead things off, as they normally do, with second baseman Tamika Whitefield. Is Madeline Hickingbottom gets the start for the Saskatchewan 222s. Saskatchewan losing to Triple Crown Colorado 7-0 in their first game here on Monday. But even in that game, Monday afternoon, they didn't look overwhelmed, made some good plays, had a couple of hits, and have absolutely more than held their own. They're going to play in the playoffs and hoping to be a competitive group in this game where they are certainly a big underdog. Is Tamika Whitefield, the 25-year-old from Queensland, fouls it out of play. She's 2 for 10 in the Canada Cup with a run batted in, and that run batted in came in a victory over Team Greece. And Hickingbottom comes right back from being behind on the count to strike out Whitefield, and you might have seen the reaction from the catcher, Emma Sampson. Lucky enough to have Donnie Atkinson, one of the Saskatchewan 222's coaches, join us for a couple of games yesterday. And I know in speaking to him off the microphone how impressed he has been with the leadership and the play of Emma Sampson behind home plate. And we'll get to her story a little later. She is one of the few players who's not a product of the Twos program. She's actually from Oklahoma, where she completed her college career at Northeastern State. And she has some juice, and so does Madeline Hickingbottom. Back-to-back strikeouts as she gets both Whitefield and Michelle Cox. And now facing the Australian Olympian, Taylor Sitsikronis. who does the majority of the catching, but she's in the designated player spot today. Hickingbottom hails from Georgetown, Ontario, has pitched 4 2/3, now 5 1/3 officially, given up 7 runs on 9 hits. Struck out 1 and walked 3, and now that's even at 3-3, and she's wasting little time. Gets the sign and goes to work. A ball and 2 strikes to Sitsikronis, in the changeup on the inside, fouled away by Taylor, who's been a long-time member of the national team. She celebrated a birthday just yesterday, in fact. Turned 30 years of age. Another changeup, and again the same result, past Lang Harrow in the coaching box. Taylor Sitsikronis is 2 for 9 in this Canada Cup. She has 2 doubles and a run batted in. She was 3 for 9 at the Summer Olympic Games in 2021 in Tokyo. And Hickenbottom, looking for a 3rd straight strikeout, misses up with the rise ball. And the count goes full on Taylor Sitsikronis. Hickenbottom, a pitcher the last 3 years at Niagara University in the Buffalo area. And after working ahead quickly, the changeup misses up and away, and a first Australian base runner. At Niagara this year, Hickenbottom was 17-7 with a 2.95 earned run average. She pitched 185 innings, struck out 188 batters. And dealing with the star this past season collegiately at Coastal Carolina, Georgia Hood, who batted .402 there. Hood has plenty of power, has shown it off. She's homered once in the tournament. She's 23 from South Adelaide. Hits this high in the air and handled by McKenna Simmons. So a good start for the youngsters. The Saskatchewan 222s will come to bat in the bottom of the first.
Welcome to the 2024 Canada Cup, brought to you by the Canadian Amateur Sports Society. Our not-for-profit organization is dedicated to ensuring that every deserving child can fully enjoy multi-day sports camps without any limitations. Join us in making a difference. Sign up for these life-changing camps or become a sponsor today. Together, let's celebrate the unifying power of sport. Visit CanadaCup.com to learn.
That stuffed toy has had a lot of airtime this week. The kangaroo. And the Australian flag is Australia trying to go to 4-1. And there is their batting lineup. And we saw that lineup go to work. Now it's time for the Saskatchewan batting lineup. Is Ellen Roberts given the ball today? There is the Saskatchewan defense. Their batting lineup upcoming for you, I promise, quite shortly. There's the Australian defense. Well, we'll get there. I promise you, we'll get to the Saskatchewan batting lineup. I can tell you their leadoff batter will be Abby McGlynn, facing Ellen Roberts, who's pitched 8 innings in the tournament. She's given up 1 run on 5 hits, struck out 6, walked 3. And the left-handed hitting McGlynn, who is from Langley, British Columbia, so she's not far from home whatsoever. She's 5 for 13 in this Canada Cup with 2 doubles and 3 runs batted in, and plays college softball at Simon Fraser University. And Roberts will by and large let you know that she's throwing every single pitch. Delivers a strike. She shut out Greece with a 7-inning blanking in her first game. In the loss to Triple Crown Colorado, she pitched 1 inning, gave up 1 run on 3 hits. And Abby McGlynn had a big day yesterday in the win over Greece. She was 3 for 4 with a double and a run batted in as Roberts misses with the drop ball down, and the count even at 2-2. McGlynn, part of the 2022 Canada Summer Games team from BC that beat Quebec to win the gold medal in Niagara a couple of summers ago. And had a good cut at that offering from Roberts. She also pitched the Surrey Storm to the 2017 Canadian Championship. And here's another 2-2. It's in on McGlynn. At Simon Fraser this year, Abby batted .292 with 6 home runs and 20 runs batted in. And draws a leadoff walk. And here's impressive shortstop Paige Simpson, who hails from Elnora, Alberta. She is 6 for 13. Has 2 doubles, has a hit in all 4 of the Saskatchewan 222's games, and lays down a good bunt. And Hood to Whitefield to just get Simpson. And have a feeling that we'll be hearing more from Paige in the days and the years to come. Emily Sampson has finished her 2nd year at Northeastern State. Now, her connection to this group is not that she attended the twos program. It's that while catching her first 2 years at Central Arkansas, she was Geordie Shortran's regular catcher. And Geordie, who's from Weyburn, Saskatchewan, is on deck next, and that foul ball took a bite out of Sampson, who plays with great energy. That was evident even in the top of the first inning. And the coaching staff, as I mentioned a little earlier, can't say enough good things. And I'm going to take a crack at it from Tahlequah, Oklahoma. She's 6 for 13 this week with a home run and 6 runs batted in, and has a run at second with an opportunity to cash in the game's first run. A Saskatchewan 222's win would actually elevate them past Australia in the standings. And it would be a shocker if it happens. Sampson hit .274 at Northeastern State University this year. 4 homers, 24 runs batted in. 1 out as Ellen Roberts looks to work out of a little difficulty. Sampson, that eats Claire Warwick alive. And the Saskatchewan 222s on the 7th run batted into the tournament by Emily Sampson have taken the first lead. As McGlynn scores, that ball absolutely tied poor Claire Warwick, the longtime veteran infielder of the Australian national team, in a knot. And here is Jordy Chartrand. Chartrand from Weyburn, Saskatchewan. Actually played for Team Canada. Pitched a couple of innings in the 2022 Canada Cup. And she's an excellent hitter. Roberts finds the outside corner to even the count. Chartrand 5 for 12 in this Canada Cup with a double and 2 runs batted in. And avoids being hit by the inside high rise, courtesy of Ellen Roberts. Sampson, the catcher, who just drove in the game's first run at first base. And Roberts works in on Chartrand one more time. Jordy was a member of Team Saskatchewan at the 2022 Canada Summer Games. And has had a solid college career as well. Central Arkansas. Full count to number 72. It was a key part of this 222's pitching staff. And she gets hit on the left elbow, which has protection. And Ellen Roberts has had to work probably a little harder than she would have liked to early in this game. And here's Beaumont, Alberta's Avery Terpsma, small community just outside of Edmonton. 2 for 13, and she made both of her hits count. They were 2 home runs, and they came in the same game in that 8-5 upset win of Chinese Taipei. And the ball eludes catcher Sasha Willems. As the 222s now with a pair of runners in scoring position with only 1 out. Australia, like Team Canada, in preparation for the upcoming Women's World Cup, which begins July 15th in Italy. And you're in game number 5, starting to think about the playoffs this weekend. And if your mindset isn't necessarily in the right place, the most wonderful thing about these youngsters under the guidance of Dean Holine and Donnie Atkinson is they're playing with house money. There was not a lot expected, but they have put on a good show, and they're doing it again early in this contest. Been fun to watch this week as Terpsma takes down for a ball. Avery played this year at Odessa College, where she hit .292, 12 doubles, 5 home runs, and 27 runs batted in. And misses on the high rise from Ellen Roberts. So Terpsma trying to add to the Saskatchewan 222's lead in the bottom of the first, and is able to stay off what one of the two coaches, Donnie Atkinson, in this very booth yesterday mentioned how difficult the rise ball can be to lay off. So a payoff pitch on its way to Avery Terpsma, and Roberts paints the corner for Ellen's first strikeout of the afternoon. Kristen Daviduk, the batter. She is from Saskatoon, 1 for 11 in the tournament. Also plays her college softball at Simon Fraser, and Dean Holine, longtime coach, owner of the Twos program that has done such a wonderful job developing young athletes. Marvelous facility in Saskatoon, an indoor facility. And with 2 outs now, the courtesy runner comes in for Emily Sampson, who's driven in the only run of the game with her 7th hit of the Canada Cup. Daviduk hit .243 this year at Simon Fraser in Vancouver. Hit .273 the year prior to that. And finds a hole here, does Kristen Daviduk. Chartrand didn't pick up Dean Holine probably the way he would have liked, because there was a bobble in left field by Shaylin Watman, and Chartrand might have had an opportunity to add another run. But an RBI single for Daviduk. And the Saskatchewan 222s have a 2-0 advantage. As first baseman Emily Waters takes inside for strike one. This young team jumped out to a 3-0 advantage early the other night against Czechia. Gave them all they could handle before losing 5-3. Emily Waters looks to put Australian in an even bigger hole. Daviduk at first, Jordy Chartrand at third. A ball and 2 strikes to Emily Waters, who lays off. Roberts has thrown a lot of pitches in this inning. And Waters may have got the benefit that time from the home plate umpire. That was close. On the 34th pitch of the inning, a strikeout for Roberts. But the youngsters called the Saskatchewan 222s. They're not all from that province, but that province has had a lot to do with their development. 2-0, they lead the Aussie Spirit here in Surrey. Longtime center fielder for Australia, 35-year-old Jade Wall, facing Madeline Hickingbottom, who struck out a pair, gave up a walk in a scoreless top of the first. And now has 2 runs to work with. High fly. Simmons, 1 away. As she records back-to-back putouts in the game. Australia has a number of players making their national team debuts in 2024, which will mean a trip to the World Cup in Italy when this tournament is over, and one of them's at bat in Shaylin Watman, the 23-year-old from Glenmore Park, who is 4 for 9 with a couple of runs batted in this Canada Cup. Part of an Australian team that finished 4th at the 2019 U19 World Cup, which is now, the age has changed. It's U18, not U19. Change up, and Watman did not go around, according to Susan Strafford down at first. Watman, no stranger to North America, has played 2 years collegiately at Cal State Northridge after a year at San Diego State in Hickingbottom from Georgetown, Ontario. An inside drop for a strike. And we don't have our speed radar up and running yet. It was the victim of a foul ball, but would be curious to see where Madeline is on the gun. Another 3-2 and a foul ball. So a first inning that has to give this young team a lot of confidence, but a long way to go. And this is fouled away by Watman, who had a 2-for-2 day against Chinese Taipei with both of her runs batted in. That's been her best hitting performance so far here at Softball City. And finds a way to keep her at-bat alive. She hit .327 at Cal State Northridge with 8 doubles, 3 triples, 10 home runs, and 28 runs batted in. And Hickingbottom catches Shaylin Watman looking for her 3rd strikeout of the afternoon. Stepping into the batter's box is 37-year-old third baseman Claire Warwick. Claire looking for her first hit. She's played in 2 of the 4 games. When you're Lang Harrow in Australia, yes, you're preparing for every game here, but you also have a thought about truly getting your team ready for the big event, which is the World Cup. So at her age, not in a scenario where here isn't really required to play every day. Will make it out of play, and Hickingbottom has started very nicely. Three strikeouts to her credit. Mentioned she had 188 of those at Niagara University. Daviduk. Foul. As Warwick will get another crack. A lot of chalk there. Difficult to tell upon second and third glance, but the women and gentlemen in blue closest to it and have the best look. So Warwick, who batted 5 for 15 in last summer's World Cup qualifier in Ireland, with another opportunity. Has played in a number of Canada Cups, and there's her first hit of the 2024 edition. Good piece of hitting by 37-year-old Claire Warwick. And a good pitch from Hickingbottom on the outside corner. Stayed with it and found the hole between first and second. And Australia has its first hit of the day. For the catcher, Sasha Willems. Sasha's just 22 herself, from Sydney, Australia. 2 for 7 in the Canada Cup with a couple of runs batted in, both of them in the win over Chinese Taipei. Hickingbottom gets the ball and goes to work. It's been very composed and in control. Willems. Simpson. Inning over. We've got a little something brewing in Surrey. Raven Millions from Bean Fate, Saskatchewan, just down the road from Estevan. And know that because some broadcaster may have started his longtime career there in the mid-'80s. So I'm quite familiar with Bean Fate. So is Raven Millions. Ellen Roberts hoping for a much easier bottom of the second. She gave up 2 runs on 2 hits and threw 34 pitches in the bottom of the first. Change up. Fouled off by Raven Millions. She's 4 for 10 in this Canada Cup with a double and 2 runs batted in and has hits in her last 3 consecutive games. Played collegiately at Spoon River College in Canton, Illinois, where she hit .403. Also participated 2 summers ago for Team Saskatchewan at the Canada Summer Games. As Ellen Roberts checks the wristband and about to deal. Excellent drop ball. her third strikeout. And there's one away in the bottom of the second. McKenna Simmons, the right fielder who's had to make a couple of plays. She's from Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan. She's 3 for 10. Another youngster, product of this twos program. 2 runs batted in, both in the hard-fought 5-3 loss to Czechia a couple of nights ago. Right back at Roberts, who looks like she's starting to settle in. And how many times do you see with good pitchers, if you want to get them early before they settle in? Abby McGlynn walked and scored the first Saskatchewan 222's run. And a home game really for her. She's from Langley. And had a good rip at that offering. 3 hits against Greece. And a couple of RBIs in the game, which really has propelled this group, the 8-5 win over Chinese Taipei. Roberts misses up with a rise. Ball and 2 strikes on this splendid sunny Thursday afternoon in Surrey. Hard to beat. Roberts misses outside. Australia with just the 1 loss in a showdown against Triple Crown Colorado, which leaves them at 3-1. And McGlynn shows a great batting eye to stay away from that pitch. Another full count. McGlynn in search of her 6th hit of this Canada Cup. Change up. Fouled it back. 9 doubles this year at Simon Fraser. 6 home runs. So there's pop in that bat, 2 at the top of the order. She had a quality hack at that. I think that's a popular term these days. Whack, hack. Good swing. And a great beginning for this young team. Roberts thought she had strike 3. And she might not be alone. In a pretty good spot. But it's a 2nd straight walk for McGlynn. And here's shortstop Paige Simpson. And this is a strike. Paige laid down a sacrifice bunt, and it was a bunt that almost allowed her to be at first with a base hit. Roberts gets ahead this time, 2 strikes on Paige Simpson. And she'll start with the bat out and then bring it up to get set. McGlynn will steal second base. Not the easiest ball to handle when you're trying to throw out a runner for Sasha Willems. Had to avoid the batter a little bit, the pitch inside and up. And then so was the throw that allows McGlynn to slide in. And Simpson now with an opportunity to add to the Saskatchewan lead. We've got a good one brewing on this final afternoon of the round robin portion. Playoffs start tomorrow. And boy, would this throw a monkey wrench into things. But Ellen Roberts with a good rise ball to strike out impressive shortstop Paige Simpson. 2-0. The Saskatchewan 222s. They like that number.
Welcome to the 2024 Canada Cup, brought to you by the Canadian Amateur Sports Society. Our not-for-profit organization is dedicated to ensuring that every deserving child can fully enjoy multi-day sports camps without any limitations. Join us in making a difference. Sign up for these life-changing camps or become a sponsor today. Together, let's celebrate the unifying power of sport. Visit CanadaCup.com.
2-0. The Saskatchewan 222s lead it. Starting pitcher Madeline Hickingbottom, thrown 40 pitches and given up only one hit. Stacey McManus got off to quite a start. The veteran shortstop. She had a 4-for-4 performance against Greece in their opening game. More of a come-off-the-bench type player, depending on the competition at this point, from New South Wales. 5 for 8 with a triple, and 3 runs batted in, and all 3 of those runs batted in came against Greece. Stacey was 3 for 13 at the World Cup qualifier last year in Dublin, Ireland. A ball and 2 strikes to Stacey McManus. Played in several World Championships and Canada Cups, including one here 2 years ago, and leans into this, but very playable for Abby McGlynn. Thought it might have been hit a little harder when it left the bat, but not the case. Just in on the hands a tad. Didn't completely barrel it up. Back to the top of the order, and Tamika Whitefield, who fails in an attempted bunt. Tamika struck out facing Hickingbottom to start the game. She's 2 for 11 now. She was 4 for 19 in Ireland at the qualifier, which required a couple of important late wins, including one over Great Britain. That sounded nasty. Hopefully nothing important was broken. Whitefield behind in the count. Hickingbottom. And that just scared the daylights out of the starting pitcher. See if she can compose herself. Well, now she'll have probably a few more seconds. She tried the 2-strike change, got away from her. Now, Paige Simpson comes in from shortstop, and settle back in. She's pitched very well so far. Whitefield hit it hard, but awaiting was Raven Millions. Solid contact from Tamika Whitefield, but a long line out to center field. And there's 2 away in the top of the third. Right fielder Michelle Cox, she struck out her first time up. It's the one thing I would say about this somewhat still in transition Australian team coming out of the Olympics. Still a number of longtime veterans, but newcomers too. And this week, they've not hit the ball to this point very well. Certainly did not against Triple Crown Colorado and Cassidy Curd, who threw an absolute gem. But I wouldn't say that they have the same kind of hitting lineup as the other 2 favored teams to capture the tournament in Canada and Triple Crown Colorado. But it's a very good team. And Hickingbottom inside for ball 4. Second walk given up by Madeline Hickingbottom. And you have to be careful with Taylor Tsitsikronis. As catcher Emily Sampson will come out just to go through a sequence of signs, I'm sure. You can tell that Emily Sampson from Oklahoma loves to play this sport. Great energy and leadership abilities. One of just 2 or 3 players who actually did not come up through the twos program. As Tsitsikronis wasted a little time taking a good cut at that. The 30-year-old walked her first time up. Would love to get on track. High fly. Out number 3. As Avery Terpsma takes care of it. And the 222s have shut out the Australian national team 3 innings in a row. As they play a little bit south of Saskatoon in the background. Here's a look at the spectacular view from the drone. You see the ocean in the background. If you've never been, it's as picturesque and lovely a facility as you'll find for the sport of softball almost anywhere. At the other diamond, an important game going on in the other pool. It has Israel in front of New Zealand 4-1. That game in the 3rd inning. An Israel win would guarantee them 3rd place in the pool behind first place finishing Canada. Mexico with a win over the Philippines solidified double life in the playoffs starting tomorrow. at 4-1. And the Philippines would finish fourth if Israel continues to lead and win. If somehow New Zealand comes back, there could be a three-way tie for 2 playoff spots in teams with 2 and 3 records. But right now, Israel doing what they want to do, taking care of business. As the Saskatchewan batter is Emma Sampson, and ripped it right at Tamika Whitefield. So Sampson, who has a run batted in and a single, hit this ball even harder than she did in the first. As she lines out to second for out number 1. Jordy Chartrand was hit by a pitch and might have scored the 3rd Saskatchewan run on a bobble following a Kristen Daviduk single to left, but did not. And we'll see how that plays itself out as this game goes along. So the most surprising team, I would say, the Saskatchewan 222s, looking to write another chapter at this 2024 Canada Cup. Ellen Roberts, tough first inning. Well hit. And Shaylin Watman got to the ball that was tailing away a little late, but does make the play for the out number 2 as Chartrand hit it well to the opposite field. So a couple of hard-hit balls. And here's Avery Terpsma, who struck out versus Ellen Roberts, her first time up. The second baseman for the Saskatchewan 222s team. Avery from Beaumont, Alberta. Right near the Edmonton International Airport. Not that I've ever been there, but 1,000,000 times. Two for 14, but her 2 hits have left the yard. As Roberts comes in and finds the inside corner as Sasha Willems looks to the dugout for the pitch call. One of the all-time greats in the men's game, Andrew Kirkpatrick, is the pitching coach. Terpsma down swinging. Saskatchewan leading 2-0 over the Australian national team on the final day of the round robin at the 2024 Canada Cup.
Welcome to the 2024 Canada Cup, brought to you by the Canadian Amateur Sports Society. Our not-for-profit organization is dedicated to ensuring that every deserving child can fully enjoy multi-day sports camps without any limitations. Join us in making a difference. Sign up for these life-changing camps or become a sponsor today. Together, let's celebrate the unifying
Saskatchewan 222s in front 2-0, scored twice on a couple of hits in the bottom of the first. And Madeline Hickingbottom is giving her team a terrific pitching performance to this point. Only yielded one hit through 3 innings. The Ontario product from Georgetown, just outside of Toronto, facing Georgia Hood. And Hood can change a game in one swing. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Georgia Hood. Australia wants to get on track, and everything they're hitting right now, which is pretty well, is at players in the 222's uniforms. As Hood makes out number 1, lining out to Abby McGlynn in left. And now it's center fielder Jade Wall. High in the air. Sun can be difficult, but McKenna Simmons from Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan says, not on my watch. And there's 2 down in the 4th. Shaylin Watman struck out. Hickingbottom has 3 of those to her credit, including 1 versus Watman in the 2nd inning. 23-year-old from Glenmore Park, Australia. And Hickingbottom's location has been very good. Moved it around well, up, down, side to side. It's pretty good velocity. Hit pretty well one more time. The Saskatchewan 222s seem to be in the right place. And right now, they're on the right side of the equation, going to the bottom of the 4th. Well, Saskatchewan has a 2-0 advantage, the 222s. And one of the reasons was an RBI base hit by the young woman at home plate, Kristen Daviduk from Saskatoon. Ellen Roberts threw 34 pitches in the first. Things have settled There's only been 3 hits in the game. Is this 222's team trying to throw a big monkey wrench into this Canada Cup? Australia, Canada, preparing for the upcoming World Cup. That's their national team, the Aussie Spirit, that is here. And Triple Crown Colorado, thought by most to be pretty significant favorites going in. Davydouk, did Willems hang on? The answer is yes. Not an easy play, or did she? Yes, she did. Get a better look right here. Nice job by Sasha Willems to make the play. And here's first baseman Emily Waters. She struck out to end the 2-run bottom of the first. She's 1 for 6 in the tournament. Her lone hit came in the 8-5 win. I think the spark plug to all of this for the Saskatchewan 222s over Chinese Taipei. Now, it's not Chinese Taipei's best roster. Certainly nowhere near as talented as the one that they brought to Surrey a couple of years ago, but still, team that's generally number 3 in Asia behind Japan and China. And they've played some other teams very well. As Ellen Roberts continues to get the ball. Kendra Lamb, who threw a great game yesterday in a 3-0 victory over Czechia, begins to warm up. And she has made huge strides since she was here a couple of years ago. 24-year-old Kendra Lamb. She might be considered number 1 on the depth chart. Her and Kaya Parnaby, 1-2. And then Roberts, who's no slouch herself. And the changeup, one of her best of the day, results in her 5th strikeout. Raven Millions, the center fielder, struck out her first time, not this time. Warwick with good hands. And maybe the best defensive and pitching inning for Australia in the game. We'll go to the 5th. It remains 2-0 Saskatchewan 222s. Upset of major proportion brewing, but a long way to go at Softball City. The Saskatchewan 222s leading the Australian national team 2-0 to start the top half of the 5th with 37-year-old veteran Claire Warwick. Madeline Hickingbottom has given up just 1 hit. Simpson shows off that quality glove over at short on a hard hit ball. ranging towards the bag. And those are the types of plays that the Elnora, Alberta product has been making all tournament long. So the last couple of innings, Australia started to hit Hickingbottom with more authority, but either there have been great plays or outfielders in particular have been in great spots. This is fun. Maybe not so much if you're on one side of the ledger. But in sports, there's always a reason why you play them. It's what makes sports great. That and about 1,000 other reasons in my books. Hickingbottom wanted that pitch to Sasha Willems, the catcher, who made a good play defensively in the last half inning. She grounded out to Paige Simpson, her first time up, and hits a rocket. Nobody will catch this. It is gone. Sasha Williams rips it. And the Australian national team right back in it. It's 2-1. Willems, a newcomer to the national team at 22. As her first home run of the Canada Cup, her third hit and third run batted in. And see if that is the spark plug for the Australian national team. Just their second hit. And the ball was crushed. A no-doubter off the bleachers and high up in the bleachers. For Willems, who has played the last 2 years at Southern Alabama. A high-lifting fly ball hauled in by Abby McGlynn. Tamika Whitefield, the leadoff batter, her third time at home plate. She's 0 for 2. She lined out to Raven Millions in center field in the third. Now 2 for 12 with a run batted in this Canada Cup as Sasha Willems has Australia on the board with a solo homer. No activity yet for the Saskatchewan 222s. Not that I can see, at least. Simpson into the hole. She's something. A big blow for Australia. They cut into the Saskatchewan 222's advantage.
Welcome to the 2024 Canada Cup, brought to you by the Canadian Amateur Sports Society. Our not-for-profit organization is dedicated to ensuring that every deserving child can fully enjoy multi-day sports camps without any limitations. Join us in making a difference. Sign up for these life-changing camps or become
From the home of the Western Hockey League champion Moose Jaw Warriors is McKenna Simmons. What a moment for that community in hockey in their 40th year in the Western Hockey League, winning the Western Hockey League title. Not sure if McKenna's a hockey fan or not. But I know her community loved that victory. She tries to lay down a surprise bunt, missed it. McKenna hit a ball back to Ellen Roberts. Her only time up today. And fouls it down the third base side. McKenna's 3 for 11 now in the tournament. Had a hit in her last 3 games. She'd love another right here. The Saskatchewan been held hitless after the 2 runs and 2 hits in the bottom of the first. Been a very good game. Four total hits. The last one, a blast off the bat of Sasha Willems to put Australia to within 1. And they'll be in the number 2, 3, and 4 spots in their order when they come to bat in the 6th. And Roberts took something off to strike out McKenna Simmons. Strikeout number 6 of the afternoon for Ellen Roberts. Abby McGlynn, the left fielder, has been busy in left. Recorded a number of putouts. Been on base twice and scored once. Both courtesy of walks. And takes down for ball 1. And had a good rip at that inside pitch, but missed it. She's played 3 years at Simon Fraser University. Canada Games gold medalist in 2022 for Team BC. They beat Quebec 10-0 in that final. Roberts down in the dirt. And McGlynn is 1 ball away from a 3rd straight walk in the game. See if Roberts has an answer for McGlynn this time. Certainly did right there. Count runs full. Abby McGlynn, a 3-hit game yesterday in the 8-2 triumph over Greece. Change up. A dandy. Back-to-back strikeouts in the bottom of the 5th. It was a rough first for Roberts, but she's been in command ever since. And fine fielding shortstop Paige Simpson steps into the batter's box. She has been a ton of fun to watch and took that like a champ. Hit by a pitch. And the 222s. And a streak of 8 consecutive retired batters by Ellen Roberts. Emily Sampson got the party started offensively with an RBI back in the bottom of the first. And then lined out, hit it hard at Tamika Whitefield at second her last time at home plate. Change up again. 2 strikes as Roberts ahead of the energetic and talented Emma Sampson from Tahlequah, Oklahoma. So they like to say just a bit outside. Simpson on the move on the 1-2 pitch, but fouled. Sampson hit .274 at Northeastern State University, where she played the last 2 years, after a couple of years at Central Arkansas, where she and Jordy Chartrand became friends, and huge reason why she's on this Saskatchewan 222's roster. And she is 7 for 15 in this tournament with 7 runs batted in. And just, you can tell, loves it. Just loves it. Change up misses, and Simpson can run too. A stolen base. Runner in scoring position. Difficult to take that pitch. A full count. 2-1. Saskatchewan 222's trying to pull a big upset on the final day of the round robin here in Surrey, BC. And Roberts gets the job done. She struck out 3 in the inning. None bigger than that one. 2-1. Australia trails. Nearby Diamond 2, Israel on their way, it would appear, to a third-place finish in the pool that involves first-place finishing Canada. Mexico nailed down second place. They're now in front of New Zealand 6-1. So barring a huge comeback by New Zealand the rest of the way, the top 4 teams in Canada's pool will be Canada, who still have a round-robin game to play against Hong Kong. Here next is Michelle Cox. Gets around on that Hicking-bottom pitch in a hurry. Mexico in the all-important number 2 spot, Israel 3, and the Philippines will earn the 4th playoff spot. In this pool, Triple Crown Colorado 4-0. Czechia, who they will play tonight in the round-robin finale here, 3-1. Australia's 3-1. And the Saskatchewan 222s are 2-2 to match everything about them. They have a chance to finish ahead of Australia if they can hang on here this afternoon, but a lot of work left to be done. Cox sends back McKenna Simmons, who makes a fine catch about 2 steps away from the fence in right field, and did it very confidently. Australia has really made good contact the last 3 innings in particular. McKenna Simmons makes a fine catch. And here's Taylor Sitsikronis. Had a notion, laid off it. Sitsikronis in the game has walked and popped up to second base. Stayed back on the changeup, pulled it a long way, foul. There is activity now in the Saskatchewan 222s. Penn. Sitsikronis. A step in for Raven Millions and a quick retreat. And there's 2 down. A lot of fly ball outs in this game. And Georgia Hood can tie it in one swing of the bat with her power. And a quality changeup from Madeline Hickingbottom, who is throwing a game I don't think she'll ever forget. And had Georgia Hood off balance on that pitch. Hood had a massive year at Coastal Carolina, hit better than 400. She's 23 years of age. Georgia's 3 for 15. Did she go? She did. And make it 3 for 16. The youngsters are 3 outs away from a stunner. And they're going to come to bat looking for insurance in the bottom of the 6th. They lead Australia 2-1.
Welcome to the 2024 Canada Cup, brought to you by the Canadian Amateur Sports Society. Our not-for-profit organization is dedicated to ensuring that every deserving child can fully enjoy multi-day sports camps without any limitations. Join us in making a difference. Sign up for these life-changing camps or become a sponsor today. Together, let's celebrate the unifying power of sport. Visit CanadaCup.com to learn more and support.
Trying to pull off what could only be described as a massive upset. Taking on one of the favorites to win the tournament, the Australian national team, in preparation for the upcoming World Cup. Only 8 teams participate in that event. Starting in less than 2 weeks in Italy. And these youngsters giving them more than they can handle. Chartrand opens the bottom of the 6th with a base hit. Jordy Chartrand. Is how Saskatchewan would love another run. And I'm sure Dean Holine, who was a fabulous long-time national team pitcher, is going to ask Avery Terpsma to potentially bunt. And now he wants to make sure of the signals. Is he going to make a change? He is. Now, is it a running change? It's a running change. Chartrand, who might continue to warm up down the line. I think she would be next up if Hickingbottom gets in trouble in the top of the 7th. So Emily Greenfield comes in to run for Chartrand, who started the inning with a base hit. Jordy's 6th hit of this Canada Cup. A strike to Avery Terpsma. And can't get it down. I thought the final game of the day might be the game of the day. Triple Crown Colorado will take on Czechia. This one has turned out to probably be 2-1. The Saskatchewan 222s trying to improve their round-robin record to 3-2 and throw a monkey wrench into this whole tournament. Quick snap throw, almost Scott Greenfield. There's some conversation with first base umpire Susan Strafford after the throwdown by Willems. And Lang Harrow wants to come out and have a chat with the home plate umpire. And they're going to review the play. They thought there was an out. And we'll have a video review here in a very important spot. And frankly, you have one in the game, so why wouldn't you use it? On the throw to get Greenfield. So an umpire review called by Lang Harrow. Nobody out after the Chartrand single to start the bottom of the 6th. Emily Greenfield came in to run. That's awfully close. Again, it's the time of the day in our booth where the sun plays havoc. Might have had her. I'm going to look over my friend, Mr. Lafrano, who runs a sensational show. This game available on the YouTube channel of Softball Premier TV. No better place for softball anywhere in the world than Softball Premier TV, providing all the pictures that you're seeing not only there but on CanadaCup.com. And we await the ruling.
The call is confirmed.
Safe. No overturn, which is what Lang Harrow was hoping for. Avery Terpsma, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Would love to move the runner into scoring position here with a 2-1 lead in the bottom of the 6th inning. Swing and a miss, nowhere to go. The base is occupied. And Greenfield needed to be careful right there. It could have been doubled off. As Terpsma goes down swinging for the 3rd time in the game. And Ellen Roberts has her 9th strikeout of the afternoon. Kristen Daviduk has supplied the biggest hit in the game. It was a single that scored the second Saskatchewan run. And even when you're from Saskatchewan, as I am, that's not easy to say quickly. A second Saskatchewan run. The product of Saskatoon, just add another S. And a swing and a miss on the high rise from Ellen Roberts, the veteran Australian pitcher. Trying to keep her team within 1. Headed to the top of the 7th. And she has absolutely been in command. Has only given up 1 hit since the bottom of the 1st. It was a 34-pitch inning. As Daviduk fights it off. Jade Wall, Shaylin Watman, and Claire Warwick due up for Australia in the top of the 7th. Quite an afternoon at Softball City. On a tailor-made day for almost any activity. What a setting. Doesn't get much better. The 2-2 pitch from Ellen Roberts is called strike 3. And a 10th strikeout for Roberts. And here's first baseman Emily Waters. She had a quality rip at that, but missed the rise. Emily has struck out a couple of times. Up, and Sasha Willems, who's provided the only Australian run with a wallop to the right center field bleachers, saved the runner from advancing. She climbed the ladder in a hurry. Pinpoint accuracy. And really has been since the 2nd inning. It's given up just 1 hit in the last 4 2/3 innings of work. Waters, base hit. Greenfield will stay at second. Emily Waters keeps the inning alive. And how the 222s would like to add another. Australia has hit the ball well off Madeline Hickingbottom. But the Saskatchewan 222s have made all the plays and been in great position in many other situations. And Dean Holine, the head of the twos program, along with Keith McIntosh, Donnie Atkinson, what a great human, coaching over at first. You just won't find a much warmer, kinder person than Donnie. Makes everybody feel better. And what a luxury for these young women to have him. Ryan Ray, part of that great group in Saskatoon. The twos program has really helped to elevate the sport. And Raven Millions from Bean Fate, Saskatchewan, with as important an at-bat as she's ever had to this point. And there's Kaylee Rafter and Keith McIntosh right there on your screen as they await. And they're curious onlookers in a lot of different ways, whether it's a bit of a pre-scout of Australia for the upcoming Worlds, this tournament, but also keeping their eyes on some of these young players on the 222s roster who might at some point figure more prominently in the national team scenario. They certainly haven't hurt their cause this week. Ball and a strike to Raven Millions. Off the fists. Inning over. Here we go. You need 3 outs. The 222s. That close to a massive upset here at the 2024 Canada Cup.
Welcome to the 2024 Canada Cup, brought to you by the Canadian Amateur Sports Society. Our not-for-profit organization is dedicated to ensuring that every deserving child can fully enjoy multi-day sports camps without any limitations. Join us in making a difference. Sign up for these life-changing camps or become a sponsor today. Together, let's celebrate the unifying power of sport. Visit CanadaCup.com.
Seventh inning. 2-1. The Saskatchewan 222s trying to pull off an enormous upset. And Jade Wall has other ideas. Starts the inning with a solid base hit to left. Just Australia's 4th hit. And is that going to be it for Madeline Hickingbottom, who has pitched a game of her life today? She'll never forget it. Six innings, 1 run, gave up 4 hits, and will give way to Jordy Chartrand with 1 on and nobody out in the top of the 7th. Emily Waters, who's another key member of the 222's pitching staff, comes out of the game at first base. Grace Paulin goes in. which might mean Waters takes her other glove and starts to warm up. Well, Chartrand pitched for Canada's national team in a limited role back in the 2022 Canada Cup. And she was never necessarily in a spot quite like this one. But even that experience from 2 years ago has to help right now. So Shaylin Watman is the batter. Would think that Lang Harrell will ask her to bunt. Great afternoon, some drama. And Chartrand with a quality first pitch. It is a strike. She's from Weyburn, Saskatchewan. Watman squares, and Chartrand thought she had strike two. Count even. On the ground, a bouncer and finds a hole. And now Australia's really in business. Chartrand has pitched 8 innings in this Canada Cup. She's given up 2 runs on 6 hits, struck out 4, walked 1. So now that would be hit number 7. And the 37-year-old, longtime member of the national team, Claire Warwick, takes inside for a ball. And now Emma Sampson, who used to catch Jordy Chartrand prior to this week at the University of Central Arkansas, probably just trying to settle her nerves a little bit. What a performance by this young Saskatchewan 222s team, regardless of how it goes from here. And it hit Warwick. And it hurt her, too. 1 bounced up there, and the bases are going to be loaded. And hope she's going to be okay. Caught her in a bad spot. So Wall a base hit, Watman a base hit. Australia only had a couple of those coming into the inning. And now, after the hit batter, bases are loaded, and the issue for the Saskatchewan 222s, nobody out. And we'll have a base runner as Warwick tries to work things out. The speedy Pippa Adkins comes in to run for Claire Warwick. Well, the infield will be in. And Willems clobbered a pitch her last time up, deep off the bleachers in right center. (2-1), 4 hits apiece. And this will test your nerves in a huge way as a young player. And Chartrand, after a couple of great pitches to begin, looks uncomfortable. And who could blame her? Finds the strike zone. 2 balls and a strike on Sasha Willems. Grounded out and homered today. Drills it into the gap. 2 runs will come home, and Australia has taken the lead on a 2-run double off the bat of Sasha Williams, and Willems has accounted for all 3 runs in the game. A homer and a 2-run double. And like many good teams, with their back as far up against the wall as it could have been this afternoon, the Australian national team, the Aussie Spirit, show just that. And they've gone in front and poised for more. Well, the 222s still with an at-bat, crunch by McManus. And unlike earlier in the game when hard-hit balls were right at people, now they're finding holes. As Australia's exploded for 4 and lead 5-2. A 2-run double from Stacey McManus. And it's been like popping a big balloon. Took the air right out of this place. Unless you're an Australian supporter, player, manager, coach. Down to their last 3 outs. The youngsters trying to pull off a massive upset. And now, just like that, find themselves down by 3. And there are still no outs. More hits in this inning than they had in the first 6. Terpsma, quality defensive work for out number 1. She ranges towards the bag. Well, Madeline Hickingbottom gave her team 6 outstanding innings. Gave way to Jordy Chartrand. And it hasn't quite worked out. Cox, a double play upcoming. But not before. Australia scores 4. And now they're 3 outs away from closing out the round robin, where everybody thought they would be either first, second, but there's still another game to determine that. And another inning from Surrey. Well, a somewhat heartbreaking inning, I would think, for the Saskatchewan 222s. In a position to pull off what would have been a massive upset. If you're not familiar with the sport, it's really hard to explain. But to the credit of Australia, with the game and that type of upset on the line, 4 hits, 3 runs, and now lead by 3. And Ellen Roberts, who had an early struggle in the first, has been on a roll ever since as she deals with McKenna Simmons, who has struck out twice. Roberts has 10 of those in the game and given up 4 hits. A day to remember. And Simmons fouls off the inside pitch. This tournament will do a lot for the young players on this Saskatchewan 222s team. It already has. They've been the surprise story of this whole event, and it's really not even close. The win over Chinese Taipei, had a 3-0 lead against Czechia, only to fall 5-3, up 2-1 on Australia, a heavy favorite here this week. Had them down to 3 outs. So it hasn't just been one time. Things are changing on the other diamond, too, where there are playoff implications. Israel now leads New Zealand 6-4. It was 6-1. And the 222s in the playoffs tomorrow will play the third-place finisher in the other group, unless they have something today that would make this even more of a storybook than it's already been. They're down to their last 3 outs. They've led the whole way. And Simmons takes low for ball 2. McKenna Simmons from Moose Jaw. Some really good plays in right field today. Willems, the star of the show, along with Roberts, scooped it after the changeup, and it's strikeout number 11 for Ellen Roberts. McKenna Simmons, a solo home run to get Australia within 1 in inning number 5, and then a 2-run double to give Australia the lead, and they'd go on to add 2 more on a double off the bat of Stacey McManus. And the drone here on Softball Premier TV, the YouTube channel, and of course you can be watching on CanadaCup.com, is back. And there's been a lot of different variations of that drone in the Softball Premier. I don't know which version this one is, but I've seen that drone go to places that have been highly entertaining, but they give you great pictures, don't they? Big swing by Abby McGlynn, who's walked twice. She scored the first Saskatchewan 222's run. 6 great innings of pitching from Madeline Hickingbottom, who will probably be heard from again before this tournament is over. Roberts, this time the location down and away, and now she's asking for Sasha Willems to come out just to make sure they're on the same page as far as the signs are concerned. They use the wristbands, and the pitches are signaled in from the dugout. Like Canada, I believe, and Canada not necessarily using the armband, but they certainly use a number sequence, which is really popular in the NCAA and games that I've watched over the last number of years. Well hit by McGlynn, and she's not ready to call it a day. And McGlynn has a one-out base hit.
Shortstop number 10, Paige Simpson.
Brings to the plate slick fielding shortstop Paige Simpson from Elnora, Alberta. She has laid down a sacrifice bunt, struck out, and was hit by a pitch her last time up. Had a great tournament. Really opened some eyes here. As has a number of these Saskatchewan 222s. Great opportunity leads to great things. When Dean Holine and Keith McIntosh, Donnie Atkinson, and the Twos program assembled this team, and the reason the team was assembled was to fill out and be the 12th team, to round out the tournament. Well, guess what? The team rounding it out has written some interesting chapters. And they're not ready to go quite yet, even this afternoon, after giving up 4 in the top of the 7th to Trail. And Roberts with a strike on the outer part of the plate. And Simpson thought she'd drawn a one-out walk. Team Canada gathering in preparation for a date with Hong Kong. I'd like to tell you that I'm really excited about bringing you that game. And I am, for one reason, because I just had a look at the Canadian lineup. And don't want to disrespect Hong Kong, China, but it's a team up and coming without a lot of players quite ready to compete at this level. But my favorite part about the Canadian lineup, it'll be a nice mix of newcomers trying to make their way, including another Saskatchewan Twos program product in Brooke Melnichuk, who will be the starting pitcher. And there's Sampson. Her second hit. And the tying run comes to home plate with 2 out. And it brings one of the all-time great pitchers in the men's game, pitching coach Andrew Kirkpatrick, they call him Cheese, for a visit. Make sure the signs are straight. And wouldn't this be something? It was a tough half inning for Jordy Chartrand, who came on in relief of Madeline Hickingbottom in the 7th. Responsible for 3 of the 4 runs. And she has plenty of pop in her bat, capable of tying this game with a swing. Jordy had 5 home runs at college this year. And 26 runs batted in. She has 2 runs batted in here this week. Can they keep it alive a little longer? Roberts misses in for a ball. McGlynn at second. The pinch runner. Greenfield back in to do that one more time at first, as Chartrand shows a good eye and takes ball number 2. Wouldn't want to have ended this game without just a little extra piece of drama. Ball 3. And Australia knows more than well enough about Chartrand. Not likely to give her very much, especially right now. And didn't. And it walks the bases full. Are we going to get a pitching change? We are. So Ellen Roberts will give way to hard-throwing Kendra Lamb with the bases loaded and 2 out in the 7th. And by the way, at the other diamond, it's now 6-5. Is Israel trying to guarantee themselves a playoff spot? New Zealand trailed this game at one point 6-1 in the top of the 4th. It's 6-5 in the top of the 6th with plenty of playoff implications. A wild ending to this game. And truly one of the games of the tournament. I don't think anyone would argue it. So the line for Ellen Roberts, 6 2/3, gives up 2 runs on 6 hits, struck out 13, and walked 3 here this afternoon on 137 pitches. As the crowd starts to fill in here in anticipation of Canada's game against Hong Kong. Too bad they didn't file in a little earlier. They've missed a whale of a show. Hope that maybe they were tuning in at home. Been a pleasure bringing you this one. Kendra Lamb was outstanding in her outing against the Czech Republic. She's 24 years of age and really looks like almost a different pitcher than what I witnessed here in the 2022 Canada Cup. A 7-inning shutout of the Czechs in her only appearance. No runs, 3 hits, struck out 9, and walked 2. Now the batter is Avery Terpsma. She has 2 hits in the tournament. They are both home runs. Could you imagine if she did it again right here? And Lamb wastes no time delivering a strike. She's in that high 60s neighborhood on the speed gun. Base is full. The lead is 3. And missed up and in. Talked to Lang Harrow about this pitcher, and quick to credit Andrew Kirkpatrick and her work. Might be their number 1 pitcher right now. And the Saskatchewan 222s, who were 3 outs away from what would have only been called a massive upset in this sport, down to their last strike. against the Australian national team that will participate in the 8-team World Cup in less than 2 weeks in Italy. Terpsma swings and misses. The youngsters are disappointed, but should hold their heads very high. And Australia avoids a huge upset. They battle back from 2-0 down. An amazing pitching performance by Madeline Hickingbottom. Australia hit a lot of balls hard prior to the 7th, and then when it mattered the most, cashed in. And I see some couple of tears on the Saskatchewan side. But their tournament is far from over. They will be a tough out for whoever ends up third, whether it's Israel, the Philippines, or New Zealand tomorrow afternoon when the playoffs begin. What a treat it was to bring you that one. Hope you enjoyed it half as much as I did. For our entire Softball Premier TV crew, my name is Peter Loubardias. Short break. We'll be back with Canada and Hong Kong. Bye for now.
For the latest in softball innovation, the website where you can experience the best tournaments in the Americas. Live games, news, tournaments, and much, much more. The best quality live softball, on demand, so you can watch when you want. Become a Premier member now. Softball Premier.
They'll